Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Laughing Stick. Today we got Kyle,
Hello.
Becca,
Hi.
and Alex. Kyle, we can't do that on the. Why do you have cigarettes? Did you buy
Did you-
us?
Are those
Candy
candy?
cigarettes.
Thank you.
Yes, totally candy cigarettes, I promise.
I was like, you corrupted Becca. How?
Benji had
Oh.
never had candy cigarettes as a kid,
Really?
and he thinks my parents were terrible people for buying them for me.
No, I think it's fun.
I know.
They're
I
just
always felt
sugar.
so sophisticated as a kid having
Mhm.
those.
So, this is the first time I've seen this movie. We're doing a Laughing Boys Movie Club. We're going to talk about the movie. This is the first time I saw The Fault in Our Stars, and I had always heard it was a sad movie. But as far as I tell, so basically what it is there's this girl who has cancer who meets this charming boy who had cancer. Turns out he's a moron and an idiot, but they end up going to Amsterdam anyway. And, then we find out that luckily he dies and it ends.
I had not seen this before either, and I watched it on my flight to Wisconsin. I'm away visiting family, and I texted Benji after seeing it that there was a part of the movie that he was going to have a major moral problem with that would make him feel personally attacked for the way we live and the way we I guess our more, for lack of better words, religion would be insulted and offended by the film.
I've been to Disney World and I've been to Amsterdam, and I gotta say, Disney World's better. And if you have one wish from the fine folks that make a wish, go to Disney World. Go to Amsterdam.
No, she went to Walt Disney World and Epcot Center.
She also went to Epcot Center.
Also, if you have a wish, learn the appropriate nomenclature.
They don't say Make-A-Wish either, because that's a whole company. So they name it something else. It's Genies, I think, is the name of the organization in the film. Genies.
By the way, do you think the Make-A-Wish people are going to be upset that you're promoting charity?
No, I don't think so. I think the Make-A-Wish people would have had an issue with what happens in the film, which is the joke that you wasted your wish on going to Disney, because Make-A-Wish has such a close relationship with Disney. Disney designed their logo, and there's the Give Kids the World Village, which is basically Make-A-Wish hotel space for the people who wish to go to Disney.
I just say, this guy's a jerk. Disney World's better than Amsterdam. And apparently, if you think that Amsterdam's better than Disney World, bad things will happen to you.
As they do.
Now that we've moved on past that,
we have not moved past it. Continue.
I was really impressed. So, in terms of synergy, I think of Disney as being the only studio that really does it right. But man, did Fox pull out all of the synergy stops in The Fault in Our Stars. The mom is reading a Nat Geo magazine. They watch one of the Alien movies.
They watch Buffy.
They watch Buffy. There's Star Wars references, which the first Star Wars was Fox, and then at the time this was made, they owned the first one. And then kind of future, the boy has a S.H.I.E.L.D. comic in his room.
Nice.
And they mentioned Disney World.
And they mentioned Disney World in a negative way. Little did they know they would be on Disney.
No, just because the character says something bad about Disney World does not mean he's right.
She defends it.
Yes, she does.
Being a really good wish.
She also said she was only 13, which seems a little old. I thought she was younger. I was ready to buy into the Epcot Center nomenclature, but she was wrong.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say maybe this takes place in 1987. We just don't realize it. But then they're texting and stuff.
Actually, I was thinking that it looks very modern, but then there's a part where there's an iPod and it's got a click wheel, and I was like, oh my god.
Do you remember the iPod fans?
Yes.
They were the rage in Orlando for 1 year, where there's it was like one of those spinning fans and big fan that you'd wear around your neck, but it looked like an iPod, and it was the thing.
My mom had one or two. I think she had a white one and a blue one. Like, please don't wear this out in public, please.
So Becca, what do you think? If Kyle had a choice, if Kyle was going to take you someplace, would you prefer to go to Amsterdam or Disney World?
Well, I mean, I've been to Disney World many times. So if he was offering this to me, I'd probably say Amsterdam now because I've already had the pleasure of experiencing that. But if it was just a one-time thing that I'd never experienced before, I think the kid in me would probably want to see Disney World.
Also, you're really underselling what the wish was. It wasn't just to go to Amsterdam. It was to meet this author that she was a big fan of. So, I mean, you're being a little unfair.
Who turned out to be the Green Goblin?
Well, that's not her fault, and that's not his fault, or that's
the fault in the stars.
It's not Baby Driver's fault. Yeah, it was funny that he has a bad driver because then a few Fox movies later, he's a really good driver. Or maybe that's Sony. I forget.
Well, a few, and I don't know who made it, but a few movies later too, he ends up being Elton John, and I don't know that Elton John would have had the same through line.
That was Taron
Also-
Egerton.
Oh, same thing.
Those two were brother and sister, I believe, in the Divergent movies. So, kind of weird.
And now they're kissing.
Yeah, I think this was her.
An ABC Family show?
Yeah, she was a Secret
Life
Life of the American Teenager, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
That was like 3 ABC Families ago. That was like when they were trying to be like for like
A new
Disney
kind of
Channel, like a little bit older, as opposed to whatever it is now.
Yeah.
Kyle, what do you think?
About Disney World or the movie in general?
I'll take either one.
I actually
I'm
really like
more
this
interested in one than
movie.
the other, but I'll let you pick.
I actually like this movie. I think it's got some really sweet parts. I think is very sad, and I think it hit me more this time. And I watched it years ago, but I don't hold it against them that she doesn't know the difference between that Epcot is part of Disney World or that that Amsterdam is not as good as Disney World. It didn't ruin my enjoyment. It didn't derail my enjoyment.
The last song, where it was like a teenage movie where someone dies, right?
Well, that's every Nicholas Sparks movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a Nicholas Sparks.
No, this is John Green.
John Green.
And I would say I don't know if the whole Disney World part is in the books. I didn't read it, but he grew up in Orlando, so I would imagine the author of the books knows the difference between Disney World and that Epcot is part of that, not separate from.
Yeah, maybe that happened in the screenwriting or something, and they adapted it and weren't thinking.
Got well on the way.
I'm such a nerd. I spent the time wondering how they flew from Indianapolis to Amsterdam.
He did. He looked it up online too. He looked it up to see what route they would take. He was like, "Oh, they're on American, so that must mean they're leaving from O'Hare."
Wow!
But then he had never been on a flight, but he wouldn't have taken the limo from Indy to Chicago. So I'm very confused as to how they got to Amsterdam.
I was just at O'Hare. That's where I flew in.
Not a great place.
Nope.
But
I had the Rainbow Underground Tunnel to myself.
Yes.
Did you feel like Puff Daddy?
What'd you say?
Did you feel like Puff Daddy?
I don't.
It's in a Puff Daddy video.
Oh, okay. P. Diddy.
Yeah, because now that you mention it, also the having him be afraid of flying is surprising, considering he thinks he's gonna die. Like, I don't know. I mean, I've never been in that position, so I'm not trying to make light of it, but he got really scared. I was concerned.
Yeah.
I think just because you're dying doesn't mean you want to die in that way.
I guess if you're making a point, we're all dying. Like every day, we're getting closer and closer to death and the inevitable end of our existence. And then to the point
I
where
don't think
more
Benji should be hosting this episode anymore.
Such a
I think
romantic.
he was the wrong choice.
So this is obviously a Fox movie, right?
You are correct.
Do you have a favorite Fox movie that has been that I guess you've discovered on Disney Plus or watched on Disney Plus? Not like don't say Star Wars, but like a movie that you've discovered through Disney Plus and that is actually a Fox movie that you have that you appreciate being on the service.
I haven't really watched a ton yet.
I will say all of the Fox films, this is the first Fox film that I've watched on Disney Plus that I wasn't aware of pre-Disney Plus, that I hadn't already seen. But I really liked it. I was surprised how much I liked it because I remember seeing the trailers and thinking how much it looked like A Walk to Remember in reverse. And it was definitely more than that. It had some elements, that were similar, but it really made itself its own thing. And I think I would prefer this to A Walk to Remember if I was, trying to console somebody who was dealing with cancer and, wanted to see, because I think what the film really says about people who are left behind is important and very meaningful.
Did I ever tell you my Walk to Remember story?
Yes, you have many times. Pretty much every time I bring up Mandy Moore, which is often.
I think I would go more the Tangled route.
You don't bring her up. You don't bring her up when I mention Tangled. You bring her up when I mention you bring up Walk to Remember when I mention Mandy Moore.
I have a question.
Who do I bring up when I mentioned Daryl Hannah?
Mandy Moore, because she's in that movie as well. No, she is. She's the mom.
Yes,
Shane West's mom.
Mm-hmm.
What were you saying, Kyle?
Oh, way to blow the illusion. I was going to say, are we keeping a catalog of the Disney Plus F-bombs? Because this can be added to that list.
F no. Yeah. There's some very Disney Plus pushing stuff here. I felt bad because you should never be with someone physically like that who would take Amsterdam over Disney World.
Let it go, bro.
Oh goodness.
Kyle, and I guess by extension, Becca, are you guys in like the Deathly Hallows room? Is that what the wallpaper is?
Actually, I think they're BB-8s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now I see BB-8s, but before I was seeing the Deathly Hallows.
Well, actually, if you look, it's both BB-8 the character and the letters BB and then the number 8.
Mm.
How's life in Vegas? Have you done anything Disney yet?
We bought
Disney
candy
Plus.
cigarettes and donated $1 to Make-A-Wish at the same time. So it was actually quite appropriate.
That was like super Fault in Our Stars. Where do they sell candy cigarettes in Vegas?
It's Sugar.
No, where? Like where?
At the
It's
store
Sugar.
called It's Sugar. There is a store.
It's Sugar. Oh, like,
Oh,
I know
it's
it's Sugar, but where do they sell it?
There's the bag right over there.
We have one in. There's one in Emeryville.
Nice.
There's actually a lot of stuff. I know you keep bringing up the faults in this movie, but I think there's a lot to like, and I'm completely not even using my microphone like I'm supposed to be. Yeah, sorry, I'm completely distracted by this now. Is this make sound any different? Have I been using this the entire time? Okay, cool. No, like there's a bunch of like little parts that I think are good and relatable to certain people. Like there's the part where Hazel is get really excited because she gets the email back from the author, and her mom runs into the room like concerned. And I think the way she plays that is really interesting and good, and something you wouldn't necessarily think about what life must be like for her. So I thought that was good.
I actually agreed. Like I thought Laura Dern was really strong in this because it's definitely her best performance that don't involve dinosaurs. And
She is strong in everything she does, though.
fair enough.
Yeah.
She like you get that she loves, but you can see like kind of behind the love is the concern and the I don't even want to say like fatigue almost. Like, and you can tell that she's thinking and balancing. Like it really is
Well, and even
Um,
just moments like when, you get the sense that she never truly is at ease. Like the part when she runs upstairs in her bath towel and was taking a bath, but was like ready at a moment's notice to just jump to action.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I wasn't expecting much out of this film because I generally don't like this kind of movie. And when the credits started and it said Laura Dern, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is probably going to be good. I didn't know she was in this. The marketing didn't focus on that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, they probably wouldn't have, but
I feel like the ad campaign needed to have like no less than 20 like quick succession shots of Laura Dern to let people know it's good.
yeah, it's I just expected her to like run a spaceship into a Star Destroyer.
Or
Yeah.
teach some kids math so they can figure out how to launch rockets.
it's funny because actually, with episode 9, I call it The Fault in Our Star Wars. So
Ooh. Oh,
9.
I know she's an 8, but I don't like 9.
that's gonna be an interesting movie club when we get to that one, Kyle. I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, it'll have to be a big movie club. We'll have so many opinions. It'll be like a massive Zoom call.
I think I really liked I liked that theme with the author because I mean it's kind of a true one of don't meet your heroes because they just never live up to your own expectations of who they'll be, and obviously that's a case of it gone really awry. But I really liked that element of it, that she was so fixated on this important book to her, and then when she actually met the person responsible for creating this work of fiction that was so meaningful to her, he was obviously a crummy person, but nobody could have lived up to the expectations that she had in that moment anyway.
But what I liked about this movie. It wasn't just about the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't. You could tell the concern the daughter had for her mother,
Mm-hmm.
the concern the author had for his daughter,
Mm-hmm.
the concern that the mother had for the daughter, even the concern the father had for the whole situation.
Yep.
And to me, that felt very real because it's not easy when you're in a situation like this to know what to say, how to say the right thing and do the right thing. It's not. There's not a playbook, and in reality, that whole trip was to put her at ease with not with the romantic relationship, but actually her relationship with her mother, which, and then once that sort of resolves itself, then they focus more on, the two stars of the film. But you can tell that what the hole in her heart for love comes from not her boyfriend or whatever he is at that point, but the her parents, which has obviously impacted her since she was 13 years old.
I also really loved the assistant bringing them to the Anne Frank house, because I think Anne Frank is something that it's a story that everybody has exposure to through school. Like I feel like everyone's, either through social studies or English, you read the Diary of Anne Frank as part of your education on World War II. And, that the assistant couldn't give her necessarily an answer to what happened to those left behind from the girl in the book that she loved. But here was a real life answer of, there's only one man in this wall who lived in this room who actually.
Yeah, and I do think it's weird that I don't know that I would make out in Anne Frank's house.
And if people were making out, I wouldn't clap afterwards.
Yeah, that was I don't know. Like I felt a little uneasy.
I felt like maybe I missed something. Like there was some sort of thing that led to that, and I was like, oh no, I guess not. That's just kind of weird.
Nick Morgan is on this Doobie kick still. Speaking of a fault, whose fault was it that Doobie Mosley canceled trivia last Saturday rather than ceding hosting duties temporarily? # outrageous. I think we all just would rather take the day off. It's Saturday. Only Doobie worked on Saturday.
Besides, he had to get up early on Sunday and watch the Cowboys lose.
Yeah, see, he had a rough week. And I don't know if you saw our earlier live stream. Doobie didn't realize that anti-gravity at Tomorrowland is a pun.
Really?
Yeah. Also didn't understand cosmic rays and Friar's Nook.
Didn't he spend a lot of time in DCA? Isn't he familiar with the way puns work?
You would
Did he not
think.
get anything? Did he think that entire park was just totally straight?
Smoothies.
He did understand the casting agency.
Okay.
Fill up a couch. Yeah, so I don't know why we let him do trivia contests, because he probably would have got that wrong. Like, what eatery at Tomorrowland is a pun about what happens when you don't have gravity?
The lack of.
Very elegantly worded questions you have.
This is why we didn't do trivia.
The lack of a force on an object that keeps it to Earth's crust.
So I have to say, it's a little frustrating that our next actually our next one's X2, isn't it?
Finally, something good.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna have next week is X2, then we get Clouds, which I have a feeling is another one of these, except without the villain situation, and then Voyage of the Dawn Treader. So we're really X2 is definitely the one you want to check out next Monday at 7:30. And then starting tomorrow at 7 o'clock, we're going to have watch-alongs, starting with Tangled tomorrow at 7. And we're not going to do the weekend, but it's going to be Tangled on Tuesday, then Coco on Wednesday, Empire Strikes Back on Thursday, and Hocus Pocus on Friday, all at 7 o'clock. So join us for that. Does anybody have anything they want to say before we wrap this one up?
I just want to comment on how trashy you look.
I feel so trashy.
If anyone can't see, he's wearing trash cans, Disney Park trash cans on his shirt.
Yeah, it's not accurate anymore because the lids are closed, which they don't do that anymore.
Also, all of the land signs are covered up with "Please stay 6 feet apart." So.
Yeah, they really should do a new version.
A new shirt.
Yeah, and I just have Halloween's not for another 4 weeks, so I don't know why you're cosplaying as E.T.
He had a red hoodie, and this one's yellow, and says.
I don't know why you're poorly cosplaying as E.T. What did that say on it?
Sundance.
Oh, well, yeah, Mr. Film Man going to Sundance wearing a Sundance hoodie, spreading COVID all throughout Utah.
That was before there was a lot of concern domestic.
Yeah.
Although it was probably there. And it really probably was a super spreader event, but I didn't know. And I was there for work.
That's
And
right.
Kyle and Becca are in Vegas. So have you, so what's happened there?
I don't know. We got off the plane and then arrived here.
Okay,
In your BB-8 Deathly Hallows room.
Yes.
Yep.
lovely. So every time that you see Kyle and Becca at a watch along, assuming they do one or two, just know that they're in Vegas watching a movie with you instead of doing Vegas.
That's pretty much us anyway. We're in Vegas or sitting in the hotel room watching movies. It's about accurate.
So anyway, thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow, we don't have an exact time, but Jeremiah will be at the Kennedy Space Center. And then I think that's all we got tomorrow. Let me just double check. Oh, well, we got the watch along at 7 o'clock. So join us then, and then we'll have Marvel Time on Wednesday. So thanks so much for joining us, everybody. And we will see you on Disney Plus next week with X2 X-Men United. Bye, everybody.
Bye.